Good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How are we all doing on this Monday morning? This is Reganelite. Good morning, everyone. It is Monday, the 22nd of September 2025 at 11 a.m. UK time. Another week, guys, and we're getting so closer to October. Just pretty much a week and a bit more now until we head into October, guys. And the temperatures are drastically changing, and we will talk about that in just a moment. My name is Reganelite. Welcome to the Good Morning Show. I do this every Monday to Friday at 11 a.m. And just for an hour, we look at today's daily quota. We look at the weather in the UK for the next couple of days, and then we'll look at some of the news that's happening out there. On Monday and Fridays, we normally cover pretty much UK and world news, and Tuesday we'll cover mainly Tuesday and Thursday we do UK specific news, and then on Wednesday we will just mainly cover world news. So just for reference there as well. I didn't see on the planner as well, just for regulars here as well. I didn't see Prime Minister's questions down on the schedule, so I'm not planning a PMQ's live stream. So it'll just be a normal Good Morning show at 11 o'clock, just for reference there as well. But want to say good morning to Billy, good morning to Scott, Person Impersonator, good morning to you, and Ellie there, good morning to you all. Hope you guys are all doing well. Just a quick update on my health. I'm going to try and record some main videos today after I've done my short videos. As soon as this live stream ends, going to have lunch, and then I'm going to record the shorts, and then I'm going to see how I do recording some videos. If I'm able to do them and my voice is okay, I'm going to try and record a couple of Patreon and Rumble videos as well for those platforms as well, because I don't like to leave them in the dark. I know they don't get many views on either one of them, but they're still important. But obviously I want to make sure I try and get some videos out for you guys if I can today. Short videos will not be an issue. It's just whether I can get long format videos out for you guys today. As for what I did on the weekend, I really didn't do much, guys. Yesterday I didn't even go out, because I was generally worried about my voice. I went out to the garden, but that's about it. But this morning, guys, I went for a long walk because I needed it. So I feel my legs feel a little knackered, which is good. So I did 10,000 steps today, so that was much needed. Hopefully I can do that every day this Monday to Friday, at least this week. But yeah, the weekend I really didn't plan much because I was very concerned. I wanted to make sure I try and get over this as much as I can. I do have a honey and lemon ready to drink. I'm just waiting for it to cool down a little bit, just for reference there as well. So let's go into the weather. Oh, wait, I can't do that because we have to do the daily quota. I always forget about it. So here it is, guys. Here is today's daily quota. I got to remember. Nope. Got to remember where the camera is. Not very smart, am I? Looks a bit off here to me today, but there it is there, guys, just for reference. Here. From Franklin D. Roosevelt. The quote is, "We cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build for our youth for the future." So we cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. Interesting one. That's an interesting one from Franklin there. Oh, that's a nice one for tomorrow. Okay, that's definitely a nice one for tomorrow. Well, definitely, that one will be a lot better. That one was interesting, is what I will say. An interesting one. Peter, good to see you there. Hope you are doing well. And Alison Keir, good to see you there. Hope you both are doing well. Hope I'm feeling better. We'll see how today goes. I'm going to be trying to record a lot of things. I'm going to try and do quite a bit of recording today. So we'll see how the recording goes, to be fair. And I've done my steps today as well. So always one of the things I always do when I do my 10,000 steps, I come back because I'm always sweating. All my clothes from my walk go straight into the wash because there's sweating buckets. And I have a shower to rinse it all off and that. So we'll see how the voice handles things. But let's dive straight into the weather because there's a lot to talk about today. So at the moment in London, the temperature is 14 degrees. Temperature has to reach as high as 16. It was quite chilly this morning on my walk. I had a jumper on. I didn't have a heavy jacket. I had a light jacket on, but I had jumper and shirt. So I never felt the need. I even had a light woolly hat on as well. I felt the need for as well. But just for here in London, just to give a couple of what the temperatures are going to be like. Today, maximum temperature 16 degrees. Tomorrow, Tuesday, 17 degrees. Wednesday, 18. Thursday, 19 degrees. Friday, 18 degrees. Saturday and Sunday, 17 respectfully there. So temperature is going to be pretty darn cool, shall we say, here. But what is the rest of the UK going to be going through, guys? Let's have a quick look here. Just so I can make sure I put that up. Doc Davis, good to see you there. I hope you are doing well as well. So this is today at, let me just fix that. We are just also reference, we are live on twitch.tv as well. So hello to those on Twitch. Don't be afraid to say hello in the chat. Not everybody is lurking on YouTube as well. So this is today at 7 o'clock. This is what some of the temperatures forecasting is there. We can see Madrid there, not Madrid there, 18 degrees, but still, so very low temperatures for a September for them. Rome there still 24, Zagreb 21, Bucharest 19, Bern 13, Paris 14, Prague 11, Berlin 12, Warsaw 15, just a couple of references for today. But it is here in the UK where we're looking specifically here. So London 14, Cardiff 12, Manchester 12, Dublin 12, Belfast 12, Edinburgh 12. Are you cool enough yet? No, you're still not. All right, I've got my honey and tea, honey and lemon there to drink in a minute. But let's have a quick look. You can see there's not really any forecast of rain today, which is a nice sign as well. But winds pretty low. I didn't experience too much wind when I was out, but maybe some of you guys might experience a bit high wind. There'll be higher winds, obviously, of course, if you're on the coast there. Temperatures very low today. You might need a jumper in some parts. So, yeah, some places are very, very cold in some parts. So, probably it depends. Depends how depends on you. You know, some people can take it, some people not. It's a difference there. But you can see the temperatures very, very low today, guys. Stark contrast to just a few days ago when we had temperatures as high as 24, 25 degrees in London. Like, it's quite insane, literally 2 days ago. And you can see now the temperatures have really dropped off here. So, yeah, I would say, yeah, whether or not you should wear a jumper or wear a heavier jacket to stay warm is entirely your preference, what you're comfortable with. I'm personally wearing a jumper, as you can see, but I would say everyone is different this, but you can see their temperatures not very high, even up in Scotland there, as high as 12 and 11 degrees there, just for reference there. But no rain forecast in the UK at all today. But going into the next day, guys, in Tuesday here, so we can see it out on the ocean there. There is an influx of weather there, but there's tiny scatters of rain on the west side of England there that may experience a few showers. But overall, again, tomorrow's going to be another cloudy day. Temperatures pretty, I mean, if I just scroll the temperatures again, no, not going to be too bad. Again, 14, 16, 15, 14, 14, 13 degrees. So again, nothing really too difficult, really, that we can't. Yeah, it was much colder yesterday, same today, says Alistair. Yeah, I mean, for some people they don't need a jumper. Hell, I've seen people will go out in shorts as well. Like, which is totally, if you want to do that, that's totally your thing. So, but temperatures, I would say it's nothing. I mean, if you need to wear a jumper, wear a jumper. But everyone is different. Wednesday here, are we getting any rain here? It doesn't look like we're getting any rain again. So we can see here in the UK. So again, nothing really too much. So you might get a bit of wind here and there. But temperature's going to be roughly around about the same here, guys. So it's not even too much of a change here. But yeah, overnight in the early mornings, it's going to be quite chilly. Look, you can see there, 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 to 10 degrees. Probably better take a jumper just in case, guys. Probably a jumper or maybe a heavier jacket. Just in case, if you are somebody that can't, if the cold is a bit too much here. No shame in putting on a bit more, guys, if you need to. I'll have a quick nose at Thursday there. And again, Thursday, no forecast of rain at all. Yeah, so pretty much, guys, it's going to be murky, bit cloudy in most parts. Maybe a bit of wind here and there, but overall, no rain forecast. So you don't need to worry about the rain. You won't need your brolly for the next couple of days. So yeah, the weather reports will probably be quite short next few days if they're all going to be the same like that, is what I will say, guys. So that is your weather report there. Start wearing your winter t-shirt. I'll save my Christmas jumpers for December there. But yeah, I'm wearing my jumpers today just because, well, also this as well. So, are you ready yet? You're still too warm. I can't drink tea or coffee, guys. I'm terrible with hot waters. Right, front page of The Guardian. Oh, this clown. So, reform has been branded a threat to democracy over Farage's plans to remove thousands of migrants with leave to be in the UK. Politics Live here says Nigel Farage says Reform UK will scrap the main route that migrants take to gain British citizenship. So, let me read into this before I comment on this. I may talk more about this tonight as well, but I want to just share this a bit with you guys. So, Reform plans to force non-citizens to apply for visas with high salary thresholds and no access to NHS service. Right, so the first thing is no access to NHS service. Okay, so what are they? So are you basically saying that non-UK citizens must apply for, have to go private? They have to pay for private healthcare. That's discrimination right there. So you're denying people already the right to access to healthcare. So they already forcing American style healthcare on non-citizens right there. That seems very, very outrageous. So Nigel Farage said Reform UK will scrap the main route that migrants take to gain British citizenship, leaving thousands of illegally settled people facing deportation unless they met strict rules. So Farage says the plans would tackle the Boris wave, the increase in the number of legal migrants who come to work in the UK under post-Brexit migration rules established under Boris Johnson. Much of that increase was because of schemes from Ukraine, Hong Kong and Afghanistan to settle refugees. So it sounds like he's planning to scrap them. That would mean, obviously, Ukrainians who are here because of the war, people who have fled from Hong Kong because of what's happened there, because democracy is being eroded in Hong Kong. Afghanistan, of course, because we knew Afghanistan, especially for women there, many of them had to flee because of their rights have been taken away by the Taliban there. Those are just 3 nations there, and it's very hard just for those countries just to get refugee status here. So is he planning to take them away as well? So Reform said the mass deportation would save £234 billion, though the figures come from a Centre for Politics Studies report that has been withdrawn because of dispute over the numbers. The think tank said that its costs should not be used. Okay, so the think tank that had that numbers out have already withdrawn the number, but Reform is still going to use that number anyway. Do I think, that Reform's plans would save £234 billion? I don't think it will save a single penny to the taxpayer whatsoever, guys. Oh, God, I hate lemon. Sorry, had to do that. I don't think, I'm not buying that figure whatsoever. And a lot of it is just rhetoric talk. On that, Farage says Reform will scrap indefinite leave to remain, which is open to people who have worked and lived in the UK legally for 5 continuous years. And their dependents, after a minimum of a year on that status, they can apply for nationalisation and gain a British passport, though each stage comes with a considerable fee. Reform would scrap that settled status and would make non-citizens continue to apply for visas with new highly salary thresholds for about £60,000 according to the Times. That would be a considerable increase on the current skilled worker visa, which require people earning $41,700 a year. Those visas would not allow people who have them to access the NHS service or benefits would require advanced English, with strict new limits on whether spouses or family members could join. Reform said anyone who have indefinite leave to remain would have it rescinded, and we need to reapply for a visa, throwing the lives of status of many families into uncertainty. So essentially what he's doing here, so basically he's saying anybody who comes from another country, so normally when people come into the UK, coming from via legal routes, and obviously they settle here, they work, they pay their taxes, they get the cast to vote, and they contribute to our economy. After a certain start, they want to stay for the rest of their continuous place. Basically, Nigel Farage is basically saying to them, no, it doesn't matter that you've come to the UK, it doesn't matter where you've come from, it doesn't matter the colour of your skin, your religion, whatever. You're not getting a British passport, basically, is what he's saying. Basically, blatant denial of people who to giving someone access to the British passport. This would put people off coming to the UK even more. It's already hard enough to convince people to come to the UK for all four centres, but they're looking to make this even more difficult here. I want to make it clear that because I've been listening to a lot of a lot of interviews where regular people have been asked on the streets about reform and whatnot, and excuse me, and I really want to make this clear that there are a lot of reform voters who have concerns about immigration, but are not on the levels of they are racist, they're bigoted, they're nasty people. They feel that the Conservatives have abandoned them. They feel that Labour are not going anywhere, and they don't know who to turn to. And because they hear Nigel Farage and reform all the time, they feel that that's the best thing they got. What they don't realise is that they don't realise is that Reform UK will take away their NHS. They'll take away people's free healthcare. They'll take away a lot of their rights, their human rights, in doing so as well. There are those who will vote Reform who are just nasty, dangerous people. I mean, there was someone who spoke to Owen Jones on an interview, and basically he said, he basically quoted as saying that, I don't care, he says, I'm saying what everyone says and we should be shooting the migrants. Essentially, the man was advocating for the murder of innocent people, which the Metropolitan, which I saw the video clip online and tagged the Metropolitan Police and said, you guys should be investigating this because this guy's advocating for the murder of innocent people, because that's essentially what he's doing. You know, implying that everyone wants to see the murder of innocent people is not true in any way, shape or form. Now, there are crazy people like that, but it's also important to understand that not every single Reform voter is like that. And that distinction needs to be made. That context really, really does matter, guys, because if we don't accept that context, that every single voter is different, every single Reform voter is different in some way, and that they're not all racist, nasty, bigoted people. If we can't accept that, then we're no different than they are, because it's because of how they brand people, because it's the same applying when you think about what happened at Epping and the asylum, the migrant who was in there, the asylum who was found guilty of touching another girl, of touching a young and underage girl, right? Immediately they branded everyone in that hotel the same, which is not true. They branded every one of them like the same sex pests, which they aren't. But they make that distinction immediately. And we are making that same mistake when it comes to Reform voters. And it's really important for us to understand that not every single Reform voter is a racist, bigoted person. And many of them are simply misunderstood about what's actually happening in the world. A word that I like to tend to use is misguided. Yeah, I know it's hard to win some. For some voters, you can't win them over, but there are some who, on reasonable grounds, you can convince them, and that's where I think somebody like Zach Polanski could really, really win these people over. We'll probably talk more about this tonight on the Viewpoint as well. So more than 150 lawyers and refugees NGOs are reported being pressured into silence by far-right protesters. What's this about? At least two groups supporting UK asylum seekers have closed their office after credible threats to their safety. So more than 150 lawyers, human rights, refugees and environmental organisations said they're being pressured into silence after some received rape and death threats from far-right and anti-migrant protesters. At least two refugee NGOs have been supporting asylum seekers have received notice from the Home Office that they will be forcibly removed to France under Labour's controversial one-in, one-out scheme, and have closed their offices after credible threats to their safety. Organisations including Liberty, Greenpeace, Care for Callous, Balfour Immigration Detainees, Choose Love, Remain Trust and Freedom from Torture, along with many lawyers, including Casey, have signed the statement in what they say is an act of solidarity in the face of mounting threats. This is terrible. They're particularly concerned about how the media and social media is fanning the flames when referencing migrants. Yeah. These guys are just trying to help them. They're trying to help migrants, help them make a better life for themselves. They're not bad people. They're simply using their humanity and compassion for other people, which is something, unfortunately, there are people on the far right, especially those who are making these threats to these organisations, have no compassion for. They have no compassion whatsoever. Statement says, in the last few days, we've seen increased media reporting and social media attacks targeting organisations supporting migrants, refugees and asylum seekers in our communities. As leaders and organisations in our migration, human rights and legal sector, we are coming together to voice our concerns about the rise in hostility towards our organisations and the people we work with. We urgently call for an end to the media narrative that is stoking the flames of our division. Journalists and media outlets have a duty to act responsibly and with integrity, especially when it comes to their reporting, headlines, and social media output. This is where you need the likes of Nigel Farage to be put under pressure with these questions and saying, do you even though you disagree with these organisations and their cause, do you think it's appropriate for them to be implementing death threats to them? You should pressure reform MPs into saying, what's your response to these? They're getting death threats. Do you not think that's acceptable? You should also ask the government on that as well. Let me see. Has government responded to this? Not really. It doesn't look like the government's responded to this, but yeah, it's very concerning indeed because they're just trying to help people, you know. Our ministers could give mayors control of schools and hospitals in a devolution shake-up. That'll be interesting for sure. Yeah, I have to put 2 lemons in there. Oh God. Zara Sultana drops legal threat over feud with Jeremy Corbyn. It looks like she's trying to patch things up from her latest tweet. I shared it on Discord. So it looks like it's not completely dead and buried. So she's trying to salvage the situation. It's just interesting to see how things go. I'm going to cover that in a short video. The Gatwick giving green light to a second runway. UK recognises state of Palestine to keep alive the possibility of peace. I might do a video on that, or I might talk about that tonight, that one. I think that's one that I'll definitely I want to do separately, guys. Let's have a look at the front of UK. Teachers in Birmingham fight to clear his name after identity fraud. Yeah, identity fraud is becoming a big problem. He's repaying £673 advance despite evidence he did not attend face-to-face verification interview. Special needs teacher is spent almost a year trying to clear his name after a fraudulent universal credit claim was made using identity, which has left him on the hook for hundreds of pounds in repayments. The Department of Work and Pensions has refused to acknowledge the fraud, even though Michael Bain has supplied evidence that he was in the Scottish Highlands when the claimant attended the face-to-face verification interview in Cheshire. That's so outrageous. What's been the response from the government on this? The government has responded on this. The government have not responded to this. This is terrible. I feel for him. That's absolutely terrible. Absolutely innocent, and he's paying back someone else's money. Met Police investigates possible vetting errors over 300 recruits. Oh, that's not good. Forced examinations into whether hundreds of recruits have substances or no checks before being allowed to join. Well, that's good. Nigel Farage. Flights delayed continued across Europe after weekend cyber attack. Oh, that's not good. Me and my partner may still go on a holiday in October. We do have a week off. We haven't planned anything. We might do. Reports of deadly 1934 pit explosion in Wrexham to be displayed near the site. Vodafone franchises warns of massive impact on commission cuts on mental health. Those are some of the stories there from The Guardian. Let's have a look and see what else there is happening in the news, guys. Let me have a quick look and see what you guys are saying in the chat. Poll at the weekend in Scotland, SNP 32%, Reform 28%, the rest of the other unionist parties. So the Youngs taking over Hollywood Parliament is an outline poll, but scary from my point of view. Yeah, it's clearly reform are getting into the heads of Scottish people, as they are in Wales as well. They're saying exactly what people want to hear. And remember, because they've never been in power, you know, they're an untested tested party. I don't think I can see any household who earns 41k a year from my front door, and I could probably see 40 houses, says Scott. Good to see you there, Scott. Hope you're doing well. Stephen Lee there, anyone as well. PTT, I'm so fortunate to have little, if not any, mental health issues. Yeah, but yeah, mental health is a very serious thing. I mean, it's just some everyone has it, but some people just aren't phased by it, or some more than others. Myself being a prime example. This is Al Jazeera, guys. Let's see what they're saying here today. Desperate scenes as Gaza City residents flee the intense Israeli bombardment. This has still been happening over the weekend and today, guys. Reckon the decision of Palestinian state of Palestine extremely important. The border between Jordan and the West Bank reopens for passengers after deadly attack. Yeah. Israel army orders forced evacuation of Gaza City, sheltering displaced Palestinians. Top German diplomat insists two-state solution must proceed reconciliation of Palestine. Yeah, Germany are very careful not to upset their Israel. History's not on their side, of course. More than 200 arrests after anti-corruption protests in the Philippines. North Korea's Kim Jong-un says he's open to US talks if denuclearization demands have been dropped. That's interesting. I think I'm doing a short video on that one. We start from scratch. Flood hit Indian farmers. Look at the swelling losses. Oh dear. Villagers build an embankment after a rising water leveled it in Ravi River following heavy monsoon rains in the Gorwana village near Punjab. That's absolutely devastating. Absolutely devastating for all these people. Absolutely horrible. My deepest condolences is what they have to go through. It's brutal. Doctors worry abandoned patients at Al Shafir as Israel destroys Gaza City. Is Turkey's Israel next target for the Middle East? Dunalupa fires agent over his purport support for Israel's war in Gaza. That's very interesting. She fired she's one of big celebrity firing one of her agents there. Dominion Republic says it seized 1,000 kilograms of cocaine from US boat bombed. Dominion forces confiscated 377 cocaine packages from speedboat targeted by US Navy in a historic joint operation. Oh, it was a joint operation. Dominion forces seized hundreds of cocaine packages from speedboat that was targeted by US Navy. Officials said amid escalations of anti-drug operations in the Caribbean. Interesting. Statement said the vessel carrying the contraband was destroyed approximately 80 nautical miles south of Bella Island off the southern coast of Dominion Republic. The NCD released footage of operation in which the drugs were captured, showing a vessel at sea, which officers bordering the boats have inspected package of goods of alleged drugs. It's highlighted it's the first time in history that the Dominion Republic and the US has carried out a joint operation against narco-terrorism in the Caribbean region, the NCD said in a post on X. The recovery of drugs comes amid a growing push by the US in the Caribbean to fight drug trafficking. Trump administration officials have said the US began deploying warships to southern Caribbean in early September, sending 8 ships, drones, and an attack submarine. The so-called US war on drugs has been called a great imperial hypocrisy that allows the US to pressure Latin American states, according to critics. The US has carried out strikes against what is said are vessels sent by drug cartels as part of a broader enterprise to import illegal drugs into the US. Yeah, I think it's a lot of showboating as well from Donald Trump to show that we are cracking down on it when they're not really cracking down on it, but they're trying to imply that they are, guys. They're just trying to imply that they are. It's like, see, we're cracking down on it. We're making a difference to people's lives, sort of thing. That's kind of where it's coming from there. Just give me 1 second. Oh, God. BBC News. What have we got here? UK says Israel must not retaliate against Palestinian statehood push. They're going to anyway, whether you like it or not. Reform vows to scrap migrant indefinite leave to remain. PM knee bending to Trump is cringy, says Clegg. The relationship between Keir Starmer and US President Donald Trump is getting a bit embarrassing, says Nick Clegg. I'm not going to listen to that piece of shit. Dude, you got into bed with David Cameron. Your opinion is invalid as far as I'm concerned. Should Lib Dem leader Ed Davies ditch the stunts? Yes. Yes is the simple answer there. Lib Dem's considering ditching opposition to ID cards. Reports that Starmer set to push ahead for digital scheme. The Lib Dems blocked Labour's first attempt to bring ID cards when they went into coalition with the Conservatives back in 2010. But the leader said, David, he said, times has changed and the party should look at the issue again and not be knee-jerking its opposition. He has been impressed by a visit to Estonia, where Liberal governments have brought in digital ID in what he said very different to the scheme proposed by Tony Blair when he was Prime Minister. If a UK system was about to give individuals power access to public service, Ed said he could be in favour because that could increase people's freedom and rights, but he warned against a model that could be abused by an authoritarian government. Asked for a show of hands, about 2/3 of members of the hall in the conference on Bournemouth back to debate changing their position on ID cards. Hello, Dolly. Dolly's just watching over me now. Dem Home Affairs spokesperson Lisa Smart earlier warned members they would be unlikely to get a chance for a formal vote on the change of policy before the government brought in legislation. So it's not scheduled to debate. Scheduled for debate this week. I am for this is the thing is I'm the digital ID thing. Look, I don't have a problem with it. I really don't. I just don't want to be paying out of pocket for it. I should not have to pay out of pocket for it. It should be something that if you're going to do, everyone needs to be given it, and it should be given free. If it's something, because it's something that's regularly used in Europe. So, I mean, it depends. If you're telling everyone has must have an ID card, and then you turn around and say, oh yeah, you also have to pay a fee for it, I would be like, that's not fair. I mean, digital one would be on your phone as well, but through a government app, I'm assuming. Staboo threats to be given to thousands of police officers. Yep, that's the no-brainer there. Ed Davey urges regulators to go after Musk over X crimes. Yeah, I mean, I agree, but they're not going to, as much as I want them to. Lib Dems call for a bank windfall tax to fund green energy home loans there as well. Interesting. I mean, the thing is, I can't take the Lib Dems too seriously because they're just not getting enough attention. They're not doing anything really big right now. They're not forcing themselves onto TV enough. They need to do more. EU Cyber Agency says airport software held to ransom by criminals. Children hospitalised after a fire at a flat block. Oh, God. UK rewarding Hamas, says mother of 3 British-Israeli hostage. Oh, do get over it. Yeah, your anger should be at your government, not with Britain. Silly person. Renowned TV presenter John Stapleton dies age 79. Rest in peace. Homes evacuated after a sinkhole appeared in Lancashire. Mountain rescue joins search for a missing woman at the age of 62. Let's hope she gets found, guys. Ex-officer faces misconduct proceedings over crash as well. Those are some of the stories there from the BBC. Let's switch gears over to the US specifically here. Let's see what's happening with the Associated Press, guys. Hope you guys are all doing well. Yep, Dolly's a very shy cat, and she's already gone. Kirk's wife forgives the CIS man who did it. I say that way, although I said that way because although there's nothing confirmed in any way, and they wish it was trans to blame, still hasn't stopped them attacking trans. Yeah, they're still looking to blame trans people for it. I mean, obviously, her forgiving the shooter makes her and those on the far right look compassionate when we know they're not that. They're not compassionate, and they're just manipulating people. They're manipulating people, which is a real on it. If they didn't, it's just to make them feel compassionate. I don't think they really. I don't think she really means that at all. I really don't. How Israel could retaliate to their growing push for reconciliation of Palestine state. UK, Australia, and Canada recognise Palestinian state. We'll talk more about that later. What do we know about Iran's nuclear program? Is UN snapbacks as sanctions deadline draws closer. 30-day window to stop the re-implementation of the United Nations sanctions on Iran is closing, likely meaning Tehran will face new pressure on its aligning economy as tensions remain high in the wider Mid-East over Israel-Hamas war on the Gaza Strip. As the UN General Assembly meets this week in New York, the Iranian president and its foreign minister have a last shot to try to halt the sanctions. The clock started when Germany, France, and Germany, France, and UK on August 28th declared Iran wasn't complying with its 2015 nuclear program. Deal with world powers. You say all these things about Iran, and don't get me wrong, like Tehran has it. I have my criticisms, of course, of the way the government is running and whatnot, and they are very, very dangerous. But we don't say anything about Israel. You don't want to do any checks. No independent checks on Israel. Just saying. Just saying here, guys. No worries, Scott. Thanks for popping in. Appreciate it. Tehran has argued that without success that the deal was avoided by the United States. Unilateral will withdraw from the accord in 2018 under President Donald Trump's first administration. Since then, Iran has severely restricted required inspections by the UN nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Agency, particularly after the 12-day war Israel launched on Iran in June, which saw both the US and Israel bomb key Iranian nuclear sites. Yeah. But again, no mention of Israel, just saying. They were attacked first, and as well, we tend to forget that. Taliban reject Trump's bid to retake Bagram Air Base in Afghanistan. Yep. Of course, they're not going to give it back. You're going to have to take it by force, which I don't think they're going to be willing to do. Trump officials praise Charlie Kirk's faith and his mark on conservative moment here. Yeah, see, this plays into the right, all this stuff here. Apparently there's going to be like a National Charlie Kirk Day in America that's going to be coming as well. Like how much they're making him so big of a martyr, it's insane. Greece's tech revolution harness big data and drones shake off a legacy of crisis. Photos show activists targeting billionaire in a street protest on the eve of New York's Climate Week. Man representing himself against charges of trying to kill Trump plans to call just 3 witnesses. Don't give you much hope, mate. I really don't. Elon Musk approaches Trump at Charlie Kirk Memorial. That's Dana White there, isn't it? On the left there, I believe. That's the UFC. Is it Dana White? From the UFC owner, I think so. Jon Stewart, Stephen Colbert, Jimmy Fallon addressed Jimmy Kimmel's suspension. Yeah, you guys you're going to be you're all being targeted one way or another. It's not right. Freedom of speech is not there anymore in America. It's just a piece of paper. They just ignore the piece of paper. Elected officials, dozens of protesters arrested at NYC immigration holding facility. Oh God. Pentagon steps up media restrictions, now requiring approval before reporting even unclassified info. Weber business interest showed that Kimmel's future rests on far more than his jokes. South Sudan suspend Vice President appearing in court tension on treason charges. Singapore is to hang a Malaysian man this week as activists press for a halt for the death penalty. Ukraine uses remote control vehicles for dangerous missions to protect soldiers. South blast at military compound in northwest Pakistan kills 24, police have said. I'm assuming that's in Kashmir, my assumption. Hopefully it's nothing. It doesn't ease up tensions between Pakistan and India. I hope not. This air conditioner strategy is the sweet spot for saving energy and money, experts say. Any other stories? Not really. It's some interesting stuff there as well. I'll just remind you guys, if you guys want to financially support me in the work that I do here on this channel, you can do so by leaving some super chats. If you guys can, be greatly appreciated. If you can't financially support me, just hitting that like button, sharing across social media, subscribing, all that good stuff will really help me out. If you can, guys, do them at least for me. It'd be greatly appreciated. Leaving comments on my videos also does help as well. I've done some poll posting for this week as well. I've done a bunch of so every day at 7 a.m. they'll be up. I post out a poll on various topics. So if you guys want to get involved and leave some comments, feel free to do so as well on them as well. And for members, there'll be the cats will be dropping at 12 o'clock every day as well. So do keep an eye out for that as well. Independent here. It's always cake o'clock with the McManaman Cancer Support. I do like the cake. Right, in all seriousness, let's go. Let's see what's the UK politics here happening here. Oh my god, that face of Nigel. What else is there? Sultana drops legal threat. We know about that. Social media should have cigarette packet health style warnings. Lib Dems are to say, apparently. UK formally recognised in Palestine. Khan says he has more important things to worry about than Trump. Yep, that's true. Yep, he's got more important things to do than Trump. Rachel Reeves faces a backlash in tax budget row. Taxi tax. Levy on cab rides set to join other budget disasters such as tractor tax and pastry tax. Taxi tax. What does he want to do? So what does she want to do? Rachel Reeves is facing backlash over plans to impose VAT on taxi fares, with critics warning that change will hit rural residents and make it more expensive for disabled people to attend medical appointments. Campaigners warn that the Chancellor that hiking cab journeys will push up the cost of trips outside London, hitting those living with the countryside hardest. Yeah, like how does this... This doesn't help people. This kind of shit... Sorry, Forrest was swearing, but this kind of shit is only going to make things harder for the economy. It's not benefiting the economy. It's hurting the economy. You want people to go out. You want people to go and have a good time. And you want people to be able to afford to be able to get home safely. Because not everyone... because not every train, not every bus is going to get them where they need to be. Sometimes people need that cab fare. You know, and it's not right that people should have to pay more for their cab fare. And for some people, you know what, they're just going to turn around and say, you know what, money is tight. Rather than going out and socialise with friends and whatnot, I'm just going to stay at home instead of paying. Because I'll end up having to pay more for my fare. This is not going to help at all. They have highlighted figures showing that the NHS spends $460 million a year on private hire vehicles and taxi journeys to non-urgent medical appointments, arguing that the VAT on cab fares will pile pressure on the already strained health service budget. This is why they need to fix out in order for this, they need to fix the ambulance service, of course. But the NHS shouldn't be using private. We should be using our own. We should be using non-ambulances and non-medical vehicles, which the NHS does have. We need to be getting more of them, especially for these non-things, for non-emergencies, rather than relying on private hire vehicles to do that. It should be controlled by the NHS and not having to fork out for private hire vehicles there. Taxi companies outside London do not currently have to charge VAT on journeys, where drivers considered self-employed contractors and individual cabbies do not meet the threshold of £90,000 a year in earnings that they would be liable to pay VAT. But the government has launched a consultation on whether to standardise the system by charging the full rate of VAT on all taxi journeys. Ahead of the autumn budget, in which Mr. Reeves needs to find tens of billions of pounds in tax hikes to balance the books, rich, the wealthy, billionaires. But no, the taxi industry fears that they'll be hit by the VAT charge. Treasury Minister Dan Thompson said this month that the government takes these complex issues very seriously and recognises business needs for certainty. Well, what better way than giving needs for certainty by not answering the question? This is how we'll do it, guys. We'll just keep everyone in the dark about it. We'll make everyone wait till late November for the bloody budget. The government is carefully considering the wide range of views shared through last year's consultation on the VAT treatment of private hire vehicles. We'll publish a detailed response soon. Yeah, where's that child poverty strategy, by the way? Where's that? You still working on that, or are you just not going to put it out? A decision is expected when Mr. Rees set out her tax plans on 26th of November. 26th of November, so bloody late. Speaking to the Telegraph, Michael Solomon Williams from the Campaigner for Better Transport says taxis and private hire vehicles are an important part of an integral transport mix, especially for people who live in rural areas who can't drive and need actual door-to-door travel. Yes. The focus should be on making public transport more affordable and accessible, not taxing the service that fills the gaps, hiking prices and undermining connectivity. See, here's the thing, yeah, I know it takes time to fix public transport, right? But if public transport was a lot better, if there was vast improvements made in in between now and let's say in the next 5 years, right? We see more buses, more communities in rural areas and whatnot. If people were able to get to A to B and that kind of stuff, then you could possibly argue argue this case, but the problem is that there's still too many areas which are cut off from the real world, and they have to rely, and they have no buses, no trains, they have no way to get to A to B unless either someone drives them or they need a cab to come and get them. Like, that's just a sad reality where a lot of people find themselves in. Person impersonator says it already costs cover £20 to get taxis to the NHS apps. £20. £20. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Thanks for that number. Charity closures soared by 3/4 amid the cost of living crisis. What are we doing here, Keir? What are we doing here, Keir? Oxfam warns charities are being asked to do more for less at the very moment people need us the most. There's new data showing that charity closures are soaring. What are we doing, Keir? Number of UK charities have been forced to shut their doors for good has jumped by 74% this year, with a rising cost of living, stalling donations, and the increase in employers' national insurance, all blaming the shocking rise. The sector has faced fears that people will need to be left without vital support, with Oxfam warning that charities are being asked to do more with less at the very moment people need us the most. There's also concerns that the government's employers' rights bills, which would require charities to guarantee hours for 0-hour staff and pay compensation for casual shift staff, could further strain charities' budgets, driving more insolvencies. Oxfam, which in April said it took a difficult decision to put 265 of its 100,100 staff at risk of redundancy, has now warned that charities are being asked to do more with less at the very moment people need us the most. The number of major UK charities to find those that have recorded revenues of over 50,000 shutting down has jumped from 151 in 2024-2025, up from 84 in 2023-2024, according to Trades Commission data analysed by Chartered Accounts and business activist Lockbourne Fine. This is devastating. This is heartbreaking. People need the... Like, I really wish the UK... Like, don't get me wrong, and I mean this sincerely. I really do appreciate people who give their lives to these charities. People who work voluntary or people who are paid in doing these jobs. And I can't imagine what it is like for these people, the work that they do, the tireless hours that they put in for others. And they're being asked to, they've already been asked to do more for less. Under 14 bloody years of the Conservatives, from the rise of food banks, the rise of this cost of living crisis that was not just caused by the war in Ukraine, not just by the aftermath of the pandemic, not just by Brexit, but by the Conservatives, by what they've left. And at a time now when UK charities are struggling more than ever, where is the government? Nowhere to be seen. Nowhere to be seen when it's facing these issues. A government spokesperson says we support our charities through one of the most generous tax regimes for the sector, which provides £6 billion in relief for the sector last year alone, including expectations from paying business rates. This comes on top of removing barriers to support philanthropies, doubling the employment allowance, collecting small in charity to create a new civil society cover, ushering a new era of trust and partnership tackle some of the country's biggest challenges. Yeah, this all sounds well and good, but when you see the number of charities closing last year, and you see the number that are closing already, 151 so far, like, you should be ringing alarm bells right there. You should be ringing massive, massive alarm bells. That's very, very scary indeed, guys. If you were really skint, you might have to skip hospital apps. This is stupid. And most unwaged disabled people are really skint. Yeah. What are they supposed to do? You know, you've got to make every single penny count. You know, some people will just walk 3 hours to the hospital. Like, that's how, you know, just to avoid paying for that bus fare or the cab fare or whatever. It's not right. It's really heartbreaking. What's happening in African news? Vote count underway in Guinea as Judah leader eyes presidency. They've got elections at the moment. Russian airstrikes kill 3 and wound 2 in Zaporizhia. That's I might get to the Kiev Independent possibly today. Haitian soldiers complete military training in Mexico. I'm covering that in a short video. Mali's former president Peter Ossol takes early election lead. Vaccination drive underway in fresh Ebola outbreak in the Southern Democratic Republic of Congo. I'm pretty sure I've got a short video coming out on that. Coming out today, I think, actually. Thousands march for Paris in reconciliation of Palestine state. Nations ratify world's first treaty to protect international waters. Russia farmer breaks national record with 669 kilo pumpkin and at giant vegetable showdown. Yeah, I'm going to take that with a massive pinch of salt. Have you actually got a picture, mate? There picture? There is a picture of it. Whew. I will say it's a big one. That is a big ass pumpkin, guys. I'm sorry to say though, I'm not a big pumpkin fan myself. I've tried pumpkin, not been a fan of it personally. That is a pretty big pumpkin. Cyber attacks cripples major European airports. Ghana women struggled to save oyster farm hit by climate change. Any other interesting stories here? Not really. South Africa and the US hold cordial and constructive trade talks. That was a couple of days ago, though. Yeah, and a lot of those other stories there, they're old ones there. That is from African News. Just a reminder, got about 6 minutes left. We stop at 12 o'clock, and I'll be live. I plan to be live again tonight at 8 p.m. I may do a Discord after chat as well, possibly. Depends how I feel, guys. So I just want to let you know as well after tonight's live stream. Charlie Kirk's memorial reveals the radical direction of Trump's Republican Party. UK warns Israel not to retaliate. Israel lashes out, of course they would. Heathrow chaos left my elderly mum exhausted and stranded for 12 hours. How the hell does that happen? Heathrow, disgusting. That's not good enough. 12 hours. You left her stranded. An elderly mum. I don't know the full story. Energy bills could be cut for low-income households under cost of living plans. We'll see about that. You say it's talking is one thing, but actually bringing them down is another. Starmer on collision course with MPs who fear Senate reforms mean austerity. How nightmare science centres would work, and would they slash the backlog there on immigration? It's thermonuclear inside meltdown of Corbyn's Your Party now on the brink of collapse. It looks like it's been salvaged from what I saw the message this morning, last night. It's looking effing awful. Why the Tories fear they will never recover? Because they cannot apologise for their mistakes. That's why. Forget Trump, get a grip at home. Mistakes cost Starmer as inflation looms. Yep. Anything else here that's worth looking at? Probably not. That is from the iPaper there. Let's have a quick nose at the Kiev Independent here. No, can I have... There is it. There it is. For the first time, Ukraine has hit 2 amphibious aircraft in occupied Crimea, intelligence claims, and it shows footage of it. Ukraine hits a Russian drone hub, ammunition depot. S-400 air face system in a series of strikes, military says. Ukraine's Dynamo group of forces struck the hub for its distribution of drones on August 29th, destroying massive stockpiles of unnamed aircraft, Ukraine's general staff have reported. Covering that story in a short video, killing 8 people. NATO is ready to use force against Russia, Estonia says, after airspace incursion. Yeah, he's poking. Russia is poking. It's not good. It's not good that Russia is poking NATO, you know. Ukraine hits a Russian drone hub. Trump vows to help defend Poland, Baltic countries if Russia escalate continues. I don't buy that one bit from him, but okay. Ukraine has a massive new sea drone. It could threaten Russia's Crimean bridge. Yeah, why don't you just tell Russia about it, you know, rather than keep it bloody quiet? That would have been a much better idea. Just saying. If you guys want to contribute to the Super Chat goal, you've got about 4 minutes to do so if anyone wants to support. It'd be greatly appreciated if anyone can. Russian strikes Zaporizhzhia, Sumy, Kiev on blast overnight, killing at least 3. General Staff has reported over 1.1 million soldiers have been lost for them since the start of the war, according to their daily report now. Russia's good-for-nothing general reportedly dismissed after Ukraine blunder. US senators to introduce a bill to send frozen Russian assets to Ukraine. That's good. It's good to see a bit more. That sounds good. And you think that helps Ukraine in this war? UN Security Council meets other Russian fighter jets violating Estonian airspace. Ukraine to begin exporting naval drones, other weapons. Zelensky has said there as well. Interesting stuff there. We'll have a look at the times before we see ourselves out because we've got about 2 minutes left. Here, let's have a look. UK warns Israel not to retaliate. Yep. Limit children doom scrolling to 2 hours, says the Lib Dems. I think that might be something worth looking into. Definitely needs to have more discussion about that. I agree. Sickness benefit claimants will get training in a push to return to work. Training needs to be. Yeah, some people need training. I think that's definitely something that could be helped. But there are some people who are. It's a lot more complicated than that, and it's not just a case of just, giving them the training. Some things it's not always that case. Budget stealth tax will cost workers £285 a year, said Lib Dems. Hostile actors exploiting our political divides as anti-terror Tassar. We spoke about reform already. Spoke about UK government already. Labour is driving its tribe towards reform. Unfortunately, as much as I hate to admit it, Trevor Phillips is right. There are Labour voters who are being driven towards reform, whether we like it or not. That's the sad reality. It's not all of them are just shifting to the Green Party. Let's have a quick look at front of the UK before we go. Davey calls for the arrest of criminal Elon Musk. Gen X for prawns and chickpeas in there. Any other interesting stories? That's the politics there. Why is it so difficult to find a home in London? Might be something to do with their prices, possibly. Some stories from Scotland there. Not going to really comment on them. I'll let the two Davies comment on any of these stories here. They're worth commenting. John Curtis has a piece there. The truth about Scotland's favourable attitude to immigration. That'll be an interesting piece there from John Curtis. Always take whatever John Curtis says. Well, I take it on board because he's a very, very smart man. He's very good at predicting the future when it comes to the future on politics and whatnot. Right, guys, so we have hit 12 o'clock. I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's come along. Thank you guys for all your comments. Thank you guys for watching. I really do appreciate it. No super chats today, but hopefully we could get some maybe at tonight's live stream if you can. There, be greatly appreciated. Just a reminder, I'll be live at 8 o'clock tonight for another Viewpoint show, depending on how my voice goes. So there'll be plenty to cover, obviously, tonight. So do join me for that if you can. And I'll also be back again tomorrow with another Good Morning show. We'll look at some of the news, particularly in the UK. We'll really dive into the weeds of what's happening in the UK tomorrow, guys. So do join me for that as well. But have a great week, whatever you guys are doing. If you can't join me for tonight's show, then hopefully I will see you tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your Monday, whatever your plans are. Make sure you stay warm. Take care of yourself, and I'll try to take care of myself as well. I'm going to go have lunch. I suggest you have lunch too, and have a great rest of your day, whatever you guys are doing. And thank you all so much for watching. But on your way out, if you can, please hit that like button. Be greatly appreciated. Share it across social media. Subscribe if you haven't to already. I want to get to 2,500 subscribers before the end of the year, guys. Roughly about 100 subscribers away from that. So if you can help me get there, be greatly appreciated. And if you want to financially support me in the work that I do here, consider becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. So thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to catch you all very, very soon.